Welcome to the Wasteland Wrap. I'm your host, Jacob Holmes. Joined this week, once again, we finally made it through the full cycle. We're back to Val Morreale. Val, thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here, this is our weekly show where we talk about the week's biggest movie news. We took a week off last week, so technically we've got 2 weeks of movie news. And we have CinemaCon this week, which is an absolute deluge of news. So we are just going to be talking about a lot of stuff. Val, how have you been doing?
Doing okay. Trying to catch up on all the movie news. A lot of stuff happened this week.
It is. I mean, we do a weekly show. This is the kind of week where a daily show really is better because we had huge news every single day because of CinemaCon. But before we jump into CinemaCon, the main reason Val is with us today is because we're talking about Zach Cregger and specifically Um, first off, we're going to talk about his Resident Evil movie, which comes out later this year. Val, I know you're a big Resident Evil fan.
I
Um,
am.
have you heard what people have been saying about the first screenings of Resident Evil?
I have, and I am very, very excited for what I have been hearing about it. I've heard that it looks like Fury Road. I've heard that it's basically like all killer, no filler, just an incredible action movie. Um, I put it very, very, maybe a little, hopefully, kind of pathetically in my best picture picks. So who knows? Who knows? If it gets really, really good reviews, it could happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing that is really the big takeaway here is uh, that there's people, and I think it's multiple people. I was trying to look real quick and see if there was a specific outlet, but being called the Mad Max Fury Road of horror is a huge praise. Now, that's
Hell yeah.
still from an Oscar standpoint, it's going to be hard to be a horror video game movie and make it, but apparently it's a lean 90 minutes. And I
Yeah.
think some of the description of the footage that did air at CinemaCon is Austin Abrams, who is going to be leading. If you don't know, Austin Abrams is the junkie character from Weapons. Um,
Hmm.
and he is on the phone with like his girlfriend or whatever, and he's like, I've just been going through some shit or whatever. And then there's just like a lot of footage of like zombies. And so I mean, if this movie is just Austin Abrams constantly on the run slash fighting occasionally zombies and just like trying to make it from point A to point B with no let up, I mean, I'm in. I'm in.
Yeah,
What
absolutely.
what level of lore are you looking for? So, because you're more ingrained in the
Pretty
lore,
dialed
so like,
in.
so would you be upset if it's kind of really slimmed down to just a zombie chase kind of movie?
No, because the games are very much like that. I mean, the games are very much, like your FPS story where it's just like point A, point B, just like one solid trajectory. So I really wouldn't be upset by that. I'm not expecting any legacy characters. I think if they're there, it's going to be more like, you see somebody's name on a piece of paper or something. I don't expect anything. I expect that there's gonna be like maybe some callbacks to like some specific game mechanics, like there's the green herb that's used for healing. I could see that being a pretty easy Easter egg. First aid spray, maybe. I don't know. We're definitely gonna see Umbrella in there somewhere. Who's the corporation behind the bioweapon that caused the T virus? But beyond that, I have pretty open expectations because he has already established, like, look, the games are there. They have great stories. I'm not gonna try to rehash what's already there. Like, I'm gonna make my own thing, and I think that that's what a lot of game people wanted to hear.
Yeah, and I mean, I really think that's going to capture the energy of the game, just being this long drawn out running. I mean, maybe there will be, I don't know how big this cast is, but it reminds me too a little bit of. Did you ever watch that kind of indie movie? It's not that many people watched it. Did you see Mads? Did you see us talking about that in the Slack?
No, I've heard of Mads. I have not seen it.
So that is a like I think it's French, but it is like a one take zombie apocalypse movie and it
Hell yeah.
was awesome. And so if it's anything similar to that energy, this is gonna be really freaking great. Um,
Yeah.
Really excited about that, but that is not the only thing that Zach Cregger's got going on. Also, big
Mhm.
news is that obviously Weapons was r- a razor wire away from getting into Best Picture. He's going back into that universe to do a prequel on Gladys. A little bit of scary
I can't
territory.
wait.
You're excited? So,
Hell yeah.
obviously, I am excited for it too. I think I trust Zach Cregger right now.
Mhm.
Um, but a lot of people too might be like, do we really need a prequel of Gladys? And what does that look like? And who do you think should play Gladys? Should it be a young Gladys or should Amy Madigan just be in it again? Like, what are we doing? What are we gonna do with that?
Yeah. I mean, like, I could see Amy I mean, I would watch Amy Madigan do it again, but, like, a young Gladys could be, like, a Hunter Schafer or a Mia Goth might be kind of fun. I don't know. I do kinda just trust Zach Cregger at this point to write really, really well. I mean, I think we've seen pretty consistent good movies from him. I think some people like didn't like Companion, but like he was like an executive producer on that. I think he did not write the script.
I like
Companion was
Companions, so
pretty
that
neat.
doesn't even hurt me at all.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that if he's got a concept, I think it'll probably be at least decent. Yeah, I'm interested to see more.
Yeah, and he'll be writing this and producing it. He won't actually be directing this one. It's not I don't
Mm,
think they've set a director for it yet. But it is interesting because Weapons leaves a lot of room for like Gladys doesn't age the same way probably as regular people. It's
mhm.
kind of seems like she's been around for hundreds of years. So, I mean, it could go back a really long time or it could be um I mean, and there's really no rules because even if you go back hundreds of years, you could still get away with it being Amy Madigan if
Yeah,
you it just depends on the lore that you're building up about Gladys. Um, but yeah, I think Zach Cregger's got a plan. And then one more thing, and this is all kind of out of CinemaCon, so we're
all
kind of
from
jumping
Zach
ahead,
Cregger.
but um, right after, so these are going to be releasing in 2028. The Gladys prequel will be in 2028, and he's also going to be directing a movie called The Flood, and that's going to release in 2028. That's gonna be more of a sci-fi
Sci-fi.
apparently. Did you look at the was there any more details or was that kind of it?
That was kind of it. I did listen to an interview where he talked about Resident Evil, and at that time, no details have been released about it, but he did say that like he was more excited about this sci-fi than maybe anything he's ever worked on, which definitely got me excited for it. As far as I could find, there's no other information other than the title and that it's through Spielberg's studio.
And that's pretty
So
interesting.
yeah, that's the only info I saw.
So, yeah, Zach Cregger is a very, very busy man, uh, getting all the love and getting to do whatever he wants after Weapons, basically. And good for him. And I think, if Resident Evil sticks the landing, he's only going to be an even bigger force. Um, Next up, we have the Cannes Film Festival, which is just around the corner in mid-May. The festival lineup has been announced, and it does not have much in the way of American cinema, but it does
Mhm.
have quite an interesting lineup of international films. We knew going in that Fjord would probably be there, which is
Mhm.
Neon has had distribution of that. It has Sebastian Stan and Renata Reinsve as a
Mhm.
couple who moves to a remote, I think, Romanian village. They're um, part Romanian and part Norwegian family. And then I think the movie's going to be largely in English, though, which will help with a
Mhm.
lot of its accessibility to folks here. Um, that is like the big Oscar player to me coming in. I mean, just
Mhm.
being Neon, it's the top Palme d'Or. The other the other film that could have been its big challenger will not be there, which is The Entertainment System is Down. from Ruben Ostlund.
Mhm.
That's an A24 feature, but it's not ready for this year's can, so it's actually gonna be delayed a year. So that's not there. Um, what else is there? There's a film called Fatherland from I think I'm gonna butcher his name, Pablo Pawlikowski. I have not seen anything else from him, but apparently his last film, Cold War, was very good. Um,
Mhm.
and this stars Sandra Hüller, who's having a huge moment, and it's going to be all in black and white. That's definitely something on the Oscar radar. That comes from Mubi. I know you're excited. Ryosuke Hamagachi has
Yeah, Hamaguchi, who did Drive My Car, is doing their follow-up film All of a Sudden, which I think is probably gonna be an absolute banger. Very excited for that one.
very primed for Oscar hopes. Also, again, we have a lot of international films, so uh,
Mhm.
forgive me if I mispronounce. Na Hong Jin has a film called Hope. They are the director of The Wailing. It's been a long time since they put a movie out, and some of that was at CinemaCon. A little bit of footage from that was at CinemaCon, and apparently it looked really cool. Did you see anything about that one from the CinemaCon footage?
I did not. No, no, I missed that one.
Let me see if I can pull it up because it's kind of interesting, and I'm not going to talk about it during the CinemaCon section. Um, um, it takes place in a fictional remote village near the DMZ. Officers think they are investigating a
Mhm.
tiger that has wandered into Hope, which is apparently the name of the village. Um, as the
Mhm.
footage begins, a policewoman finds a deserted town that looks like a tornado swept through it, and they quickly encounter unimaginable monsters wreaking havoc and destruction.
Huh.
There's a shot of an alien ship descending through the clouds. It ends with a creature with a giant jaw flying through the air.
Hell
um,
yeah.
so just
Alright.
crazy stuff. And this is actually again, this is an international film, but it apparently stars Alicia Vikander and Michael Fassbender. So I mean,
Oh, wow.
this is I think going to be English language and accessible, particularly accessible to American audiences. So that sounds like a whole lot of fun. Um,
Yeah.
so, and that's going to be at Cannes. Um, and also outside of the official competition, Jane Schunbrun's Teenage Sex and Death at Camp, Miasma,
Mhm.
is going to be at Cannes, which means we're going to hear about that film early on. Those are just a handful of the films that stuck out to me. What did
I
I miss?
I did wanna men I wanted to mention one more. I wanted to mention, Sheep in the Box, which is, Hirokazu Koreeda, which I had Hirokazu Koreeda in my Best Picture picks, but for his other film that's coming out this year, Look Back. So I think it's interesting that we're getting a different film than I expected in Cannes, but this film does look very interesting. It's about a couple, like, essentially adopting like a humanoid robot. So it's like a drama kind of thing. But this is from the director of Shoplifters, which I was that a Palme d'Or? I feel like it
Um,
was,
I don't know.
or was
Let's
it a
see.
jury selection?
Let's see.
Shoplifters. It
Shoplifters.
was the Palme d'Or. It was
It
Palme
was
d'Or in
the
2018. So yeah. So that would be another one to keep an eye on, I think.
yeah, and Val's referencing our pole position way too early Oscar predictions that we did like over a month ago, I think. Um, actually, yeah, it's been like 2 months since we did that, which is crazy. And I actually brought up Sheep in the Box because that's the one I was looking at um, from from him. So yeah, it's interesting that that got on the can slate. I did not really expect that. That's also got from Neon. By the way, when we mentioned Hope, I didn't say
Mm-hmm.
that's also from Neon. And all of a sudden, also under Neon. So just like we had this past year
Got a lot.
where Neon had it was just an accident, the secret agent, sentimental value. Surratt, and all of these that got an international feature. Once again, Neon is coming with a stacked slate. Mubi is trying. They're hoping Fatherland can sneak across and get them because Mubi got completely destroyed by Neon last year at Cannes. So Mubi's like, please, Fatherland, just perform. Um, so
Mhm.
yeah, but no, it's going to be an exciting film festival, despite the fact that we really don't have any American um, filmmakers showing any of their work. We thought maybe Jack of Spades could be ready from Joel Cohen, even though we haven't heard much of anything about that. That didn't show up. There's a movie called Paper Tiger with Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson that didn't show up. So, but it's gonna be a packed lineup. But we have a
Mhm.
lot to talk about on the next topic, so we are going to move right ahead and talk about
CinemaCon.
CinemaCon, which
Oh
has
my
been
goodness.
insane. It's been going, it went Monday through Thursday. So we just got the news yesterday that Marvel Disney showed their first trailer, full trailer for Avengers Doomsday. We have not seen that. I've barely read descriptions of it yet. That's still kind of percolating out there. I saw one kind of descript. Did you see anything about the Doomsday trailer, Val?
I didn't see it, and that is my fault because, like, I was looking more for other things. I know that there's some descriptions out there of the Doomsday trailer.
I think
Um,
I did see that. So I think Florence Pugh's Black Widow character, Yelena, squares off with Mystique. In it, I think
looks
Steve
like there's
Rogers.
a sorry,
I
I
think
just
Steve
pulled up
Rogers
some
returns again
highlights.
with Mjolnir from Thor.
Mhm.
Um, Obviously Robert Downey Jr. is there as Doom.
Mhm.
Apparently Doom, he speaks with this different accent and it doesn't sound like Tony Stark. Um, there's a scene of Professor Xavier in like the ruins of the X-Men school. Um, there was
Mhm.
apparently the Wakandans were trying to make peace with Namor, and Fantastic Four was trying
Oh.
to enlist the help of the Wakandans. I don't know. There's a lot going on apparently, but the
Uh,
general vibe was this trailer rocked.
apparently there's also a battle shown between Gambit and Shang-Chi in the
Yeah,
trailer as well.
that's
There's
the
a
one that
lot
I
going on.
that's a lot of stuff. um, are you excited for Doomsday? I mean, obviously the MCU has been on a downward slide since
Yeah.
Endgame. The vibe of this trailer was
So
a lot of excitement. Does this get you back into it, or were you ever into the MCU?
I was like the like whole Avengers to Endgame arc, that broad arc was kind of my like end of college to slightly post college years. And I was like locked in. I was in the theater for like every one of those movies. But post Endgame, somewhere in the middle of WandaVision, I just like completely checked out. And I know that's crazy because people are like, WandaVision's so good. And I have complaints with WandaVision, but I have been pretty disconnected ever since. Like I haven't really seen Thunderbolts or any of the new ones. I haven't seen Fantastic Four. So I would really have to play catch up if I wanted to go see Doomsday this year. Or I could just go in cold and not understand anything. Which maybe I'll do. We'll see.
I think it's worth it, probably. So, I've seen Fantastic Four, which was good. I mean, it was
Mhm.
nice. It was better than a lot of the stuff Marvel's put out since Endgame. Not as good as some of the pre-Endgame stuff. Um, I didn't get to finish Thunderbolts, but Thunderbolts was actually really fun. The half of Thunderbolts that I
Mhm.
saw was pretty good, even though it also relied a lot on a couple of characters that were in Disney Plus shows I never watched and I don't intend to watch.
Mhm.
Um, I think this is a chance for Disney to reset the slate and understand that
Mhm.
the way they did the Disney Plus shows with Marvel just wasn't working. Um,
Yeah.
they can do Disney Plus shows, but they can't continue to do it the way they've been doing it. I don't know. I need to see the trailer to really get excited. I do feel like people who were not super pumped got pumped watching the trailer, so that gives me a little bit of hope. I mean, I would like to go and
Mhm.
have the same enjoyment from Marvel that I used to have, but it's been a long
Yeah.
time since it's done that. I thought Doctor Strange, and the Multiverse of Madness was awful. So, um, so anyway, but that's just one piece of CinemaCon. That was Disney's main thing. We also apparently they got 7 minutes of Dune Part 3, like the opening
Mhm.
salvo, which apparently is Denis Villeneuve doing Saving Private Ryan in space,
Oh, hell yeah. I can't
which
wait.
is
That's gonna be so good.
basically Denis Villeneuve is like going a different direction than the books at this point, right? Because well, no, from what you've said and from what I've learned, there's obviously
Uh-huh.
wars that happen, but the books
Yeah.
kind of skip over to the aftermath, whereas
That's true. Yes.
Denis Villeneuve's like, we're gonna
So
see the Saving Private Ryan
that
elements.
is interesting because I will say, and I don't think this is a spoiler for the book because it's in like chapter one. But basically, Dune Messiah starts out and it's like, yep, the wars are done and Arrakis has been terraformed. So here we are. And you're just like, oh, okay. Like it skips a lot. So I think he wants to at least show some of that, which is interesting to me.
Yeah, because apparently too in this footage, I don't know how much you read of the footage, but there's apparently what looks like Paul and Chani kind of facing off, which sounds
Hell yeah.
very different than what you described, where
Yeah.
Chani's just kind of there. So it sounds like he's really taking a bit of a different angle than the books
Mm-hmm.
did here. But people, I mean, I didn't have Dune 3 in my first Oscar predictions. I'm moving it in again because I mean, people are just excited. Like, apparently, this was just some of the best footage you could get at a CinemaCon, only to be rivaled by the fact that they also did the Odyssey Trojan horse footage with a little bit of extra apparently. We've already kind of not kind of news because it's been in IMAX. I haven't seen it personally, but like people are pumped about this Trojan horse sequence already, and that's just
Mm-hmm.
kind of like seems to be somewhere near the opener of the movie as like a flashback. So you know, what were you looking at with CinemaCon? There's so much to get to. Um, what are some highlights? And also, if you're here in the live chat, I just saw Wilkie's movies and music. Thank you for chatting. If you have something you want to talk about from CinemaCon, let us know because there's literally so much we can't
Yeah,
get to all of
absolutely.
it.
We're watching the chat. So, absolutely. I would say I obviously like was looking for the Resident Evil news. That was like I was following the Zach Cregger stuff. I also followed the news coming out about Evil Dead and the footage that they showed with that. They said that it's a much meaner kind of vibe than Evil Dead Rise was, but that it does seem like it's going to be this new original take on Evil Dead. So that's Evil Dead Burn, and that's coming out this year. So while I don't think that's going to be in any awards discussions anywhere, I am excited to see that for sure. Were there any that jumped out at you that we haven't talked about?
One that just came to mind was we got a apparently they got a work in progress screening of Forgotten Island from DreamWorks,
Mhm.
and apparently it is just really funny, really heartfelt. It's from two of the makers of Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. So I mean that's exciting to me. I think that bodes well for it. Also, they got footage from Werewolf, however you pronounce Robert Eggers' new Christmas horror,
Hell
including
yeah.
Aaron Taylor Johnson transforming into the wolf. Apparently, it's very brutal. I love the fact that it's set at like, you know, 200 years ago and not like modern time. That's obviously Eggers is not going to do modern time. But but it just sounds great. I kind of enjoyed Nosferatu. Like Nosferatu was incredibly stylish, um,
Mhm.
but I didn't fully love the story. So if Werewolf has
Oh,
a
interesting.
story that if Werewolf has a story that matches the style better for me, that'll be awesome. But yeah,
Mhm.
get in more about the footage in the chat. I see.
Yeah, so Evil Dead Burn apparently kind of portrays a story of a family that is using the Necronomicon like on purpose to bring back like a dead loved one. So rather than the deadites being in this like really solitary location, it's going to be like an entire small town. Apparently what the footage showed was very cryptic, kind of these people like waiting outside of a door, like very scared. They didn't really get into what the footage showed specifically, just that it was really gory and mean. And much less Evil Dead 2, which is kind of more what Evil Dead Rise kind of leaned into. And I loved Evil Dead Rise. I thought it was so interesting to have it in this like kind of gentrified apartment complex as opposed to the cabin in the woods. So I am really interested to see Evil Dead Burn. I'll definitely probably check that out while it's still in theaters.
Awesome. I'm not an Evil Dead. I haven't watched any of the Evil Dead, so I don't have a whole lot I could
You should
say,
watch at
but
least one. I think you should watch the original.
okay. I mean, I'll give it a shot for sure. We saw the Evil Dead Rise trailer and it looked good and also like nope. So so it's
Fair.
kind of like uh um the other big one I want to talk about was the social reckoning. Um
Yeah.
because there's been a lot of like Aaron Sorkin is a good writer and kind of directing. They're like, what is this going to be? Apparently, Jeremy Strong is looks incredible as Zuckerberg, and not just like
Okay.
looks, but like his mannerisms, his speech. Like apparently,
I
the
believe
footage
it.
that people saw just like put to bed this idea of Jeremy Strong as Zuckerberg will be weird after Eisenberg. Apparently, that's gone. And if you don't know, the Social Reckoning is actually not about Zuckerberg. He's not the main character. It's about this whistleblower at Facebook that will be played by
Mm.
Mikey Madison, um,
Hell yeah.
who goes to a journalist played by Jeremy Allen White. Um, I'm in. I mean, I'm in. Apparently, the
Yeah.
footage,
With
the
that
little bit of footage
cast,
they got,
incredible.
I'm like, okay, that's you know, Sorkin be damned. I'm sure he's going to direct this one better. It's just going to be great. There's going to be greatness. So I'm fully on board at this point with the Social Reckoning. Um, Also, we haven't even talked about the fact that Digger
There's
footage
bigger
came
footage, yeah.
with Tom Cruise apparently with a southern accent and a big gut playing an 80-year-old man who's like cussing out a guy about an environmental study on the phone and then talking to John Goodman who's the president of the United States and John Goodman's like you dug us into this mess, Digger, and you're gonna have to dig us out. uh, I mean, people are talking about we're getting Resident Evil compared to Mad Max Fury Road. We're getting Dune 3 compared to Saving Private Ryan, and we're getting Digger compared to Doctor Strangelove. So it's like,
Wow.
I mean,
Okay. This might be an amazing year for film.
this this could just be great stuff. I mean, Tom Cruise is coming for the Best Actor Oscar. You
He's
know,
finally gonna be the canon. This'll be it. His canon
s-
film.
and then speaking of Tom Cruise, they announced a Top Gun 3. Which any other
Mhm.
week would be like our main news story, and we're barely getting to it because it's so full. I don't know if a Top Gun 3 is going to be good. Maverick was really, really well done. I don't know
Mhm.
how you. That was a lightning in a bottle, though. That I don't know how you bring. I don't know how you up it. I mean,
Mhm.
it'll be more good, but I don't know that it will be like. It feels kind of the same. So we'll see. But I mean, they've earned enough to go back to the theater again. Top Gun Maverick was a fun time.
Yeah, yeah. It'll probably be fun at least.
And that's still not getting into Disney had more stuff about like
Oh my
their movie
gosh.
Hexed coming out. There's trailers for Ridley Scott's The Dog Stars. There was a trailer
Mhm.
for what's the movie called? Ladies First, where Sacha Baron Cohen bonks his
Mhm.
head and wakes up in a role reversal world of a matriarchy and he's been an asshole. And he has to deal with
That's
that. I
fun.
mean, I thought that looked good. I mean, it's kind of maybe a little outdated in a
Yeah.
way, but it looks fun to me. The
If
Dog
it's
Stars
funny.
trailer looked decent.
Mhm.
I think Jacob Elordi's a good actor. Margaret Qualley's in there.
Mhm.
Obviously, Ridley Scott can be a great director, although we haven't seen it necessarily in a while. Um,
Yeah.
Hext, who is Haley Steinfeld, who's going to be doing the main voice in the Hext movie.
Mhm.
We don't really know. I mean, there's a little bit of details about it. Um, Spider-Man: Brand New Day. I don't think they did too much with that.
Well,
Um,
we've already got a full trailer for that, so
yeah, they. I don't think they revealed. They It's not like they revealed who Sadie Sink was, which is what everybody's waiting on
yeah.
the full confirmation of. So, but yeah, it's been a busy CinemaCon. This is only like the biggest stuff. There's still so many little things left to dig through out there. So, go look. They did a trailer for Clayface. For anyone out there that's
Yes.
excited about that body horror, it sounds like it was pretty well done. Um, a lot of that is on ScreenageWasteland.com, by the way. Duke
Mhm.
Carlston's written a lot of news this week from CinemaCon, so
Yeah.
check it out. But we're going to move on to our next topic, which is
Oh, man.
reviews for Mother Mary from David Lowery. Um,
Yeah.
I've been anticipating this movie for a while, cautiously. Has this been on your radar, Val?
It has, and I've been watching the trailers as they've been coming out and some of the footage. It does look great. I am cautiously optimistic now. I'm looking the review aggregator right now is at a 78% on Rotten Tomatoes and 64 on Metacritic. So it does seem like it was a little bit divisive. Um, that doesn't mean it's bad. It seems like in general though, like IndieWire, IGN, both really liked it. So, I mean, yeah, we'll have to see what happens with this one. It seems like it is very artsy, cerebral, but also horror. I don't know. What have you been seeing?
Well, we'll flip over here, and that's not how that's supposed to look. Boop. Okay. Um,
Oh, it's 55. Okay, so it's gone down from when I checked
yeah,
it.
it's gone down just a little bit.
Yeah.
It
Interesting.
but that's 12 positive reviews, 10 mixed reviews, and 2 negative reviews. So it's very all over
Mhm.
the place. As you said, here's David Ehrlich from IndieWire. He calls it
Mhm.
a singular, hypnotic, and formally unbound psychodrama that's staged between a Lady Gaga-like diva, played by Anne Hathaway, and the only person who might be able to quiet her demons, who's played by Michaela Cole. This talky chamber piece of a film is almost entirely confined to an unheated barn, and yet it grows to feel as vast as the synaptic gap that stretches between literalness and metaphor. You can always rely on Ehrlich to just have word,
Yeah,
big,
he's a good writer.
big concepts that are interesting. Um, Screen
Saw
Daily gave it
further
an 80.
down. Mhm.
It's a bold, gothic, compelling study of the cult of fame, the creative impulse, the fragile threads that bind. Um, let's go down to one of the worst reviews on here.
Yeah, Hollywood
David
Reporter,
Rooney
like, hated it.
from the Hollywood Reporter say some might be willing to find depth in his stylish but gossamer thin depiction of a woman at the height of her performative powers, struggling to bear the weight of her stage persona. I found it a bore, self-consciously cool but distancing and empty. Slate Dana Stevens is right here in the middle at 50. Painfully literal ending struck me as somewhat risible disappointment, and though I admired the movie's imagination and ambition, I can't say I ever entered wholeheartedly into its story. This isn't that surprising to me,
Yeah.
um, but I have mixed feelings. But I mostly loved the Green Knight. I think David
Mm,
Lowery is a specific talent. I had not
mhm,
finished a Ghost Story, but I've watched half of a Ghost Story, and I feel like that could be a masterpiece if it continues on the track that it's at. And
mhm.
so David Lowery is such a strange filmmaker, and I'm always excited to see what he's going to bring, even though I don't know if it's going to fully connect. Do you have
Yeah.
any feeling about David Lowery films and what to expect from this now with this divisive reaction?
I haven't actually I don't know if I've seen a David Lowery film, come to think of it. Obviously, I've heard of Ghost Story, and I have heard I mean, I've heard a lot of I've heard of Green Knight. I mean, but I haven't actually seen these movies. So I don't feel like I can give a really strong opinion, but I can see what you mean in terms of these are kind of very artsy, kind of maybe A24 vibe movies. I mean, it is an A24 movie, but and that's not going to work for everyone. But I would definitely be willing to give this a shot. And I mean, I still need to see The Green Knight. I heard about a specific scene from The Green Knight that put me off, but I have a feeling I would probably still like it overall.
The Green Knight is The Green Knight is a bit discombobulated in part because the
Mhm.
original literature is kind of discombobulated, if you're really
Yeah.
honest. I mean, it's classic literature, but it's kind of, especially in the modern age, it's kind of like, what are you tripping?
Yeah.
And A Ghost Story in particular, even though I've only seen half of it, I didn't turn it off because I was not enjoying it. I just had something I had to go do at the time, and I never returned because I feel like I have to rewatch the whole thing, and it's
Mhm.
barely anything is happening in A Ghost Story at any given moment. So I can
Huh.
understand how people are bored, but I'm like, I was transfixed by A Ghost Story.
Mhm.
It's the kind of movie where nothing is happening, but everything is so mesmerizing to me. And so I'm hopeful that
Mhm.
these reviews that see Mother Mary that way are going to be just people
Mhm.
who felt that way about A Ghost Story, and that this is going to be really something phenomenal.
Yeah, yeah, that's really interesting. That reminds me a little bit of the Osgood Perkins early film, I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House. Kind of nothing happens in that movie for the most part, but I loved it. I thought it was just such an atmospheric, like ghost story. So I bet that I would like it. I need to check it out. I will probably try to catch this one in theaters. It just looks very intriguing to me. So we'll
I mean,
see. I think it will probably be divisive.
I think it'll be one of those things where, and you can kind of see this in the negative reviews, where even if you don't ultimately come away from the film loving where it went, or like you don't really connect to it, you can still appreciate it for the swing, and you can feel like you watched
Mhm.
something that was trying versus, like, I mean, something that's
Yeah.
just so middle of the road, playing it safe kind of deal. Um,
Yeah, so kinda like Alex Garland's Men sort of thing, like, some people really
sure,
liked it, some people really hated it, but
yeah,
everybody kinda
but
felt some sort of way about it. Nobody really thought it was boring.
no one was sitting there like, wow, this is just like totally uh copy and paste. This is definitely
Yeah, nobody
original. It's
thought that about
definitely
that
a new
movie.
thing. Um, Speaking of movies that might bore some people, but that we're excited about, our last topic today is Wizard of the Kremlin.
Yes.
Which Val, you pushed to make sure we talked about this trailer on the show this week. Wizard of the Kremlin is my baby from last year. It was my really out there pick in my way too early predictions for the Oscars. It premiered, I think, at Venice to kind of okay reviews, and so, or it was at TIFF for sure because Raph saw it there.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and it got kind of okay reviews, and it didn't get picked up. But yeah, the
Mhm.
trailers come out, and we'll talk about it. But let's real quick look at a couple of screen grabs because I managed to grab those, so might as well put them to work. And I did not start it over, but let's go quickly. Okay, so apparently we get a good shot of Moscow. This is taking us back, just letting us know it's in
Mhm.
1990, and there were several great shots of Paul
Mhm.
Dano and Alicia Vikander. And for people who don't understand, because I think a lot of people are going to go into this film thinking that the Wizard of the Kremlin is Putin, but the
No.
Wizard of the Kremlin is actually Paul Dano's character. He's the mastermind and the person creating the facade for Russia. So
Mhm.
that's Paul Dano's character. He's loosely based on a real character, but he's technically fictitious.
Yeah.
Here's another image of Paul Dano and Alicia Vikander on the other side of instead of on stage, they appear to be at a theatrical production. That's a striking image. great cinematography with the snow. I loved this shot.
Mhm.
Um, and then the money is Jude Law as Vladimir Putin. That's kind of the thing a lot of people are going to be talking about with this movie. Um, yeah, Val, what about this trailer got you so excited to chat about it?
It it just looked to me, like a really good political satire, and I hadn't really been excited about a movie like this since, like, maybe Death of Stalin, even though this is a much different film. It is not that, like, really, really silly energy that that movie has. This feels more kind of like Secession. Um, I think Paul Dano's performance in the trailer is kind of phenomenal. I think he sort of steals the show. I know everybody's talking about Jude Law, but I think Paul Dano is going to be the performance that's talked about in this movie. And I saw this and I was like, well, I have to see this movie because of
Well,
his
it's all
performance.
about him, and, it's
Yeah,
interesting the timing of this release because if this movie had come out last year like you would expect,
yeah,
we were really in the thick of the Russia-Ukraine war. Don't worry, guys, we don't talk about politics here, but we gotta address a little bit of something just because of the nature of the
context.
movie. Um, Now the Russia-Ukraine war is not it's still going on, obviously, but it's not front of mind for Americans. There's another war
Mhm.
that's front of mind right now. And but this is also um, looking into the building of this fascist regime of Russia, and it's interesting that it is saying yes, there's Putin, but there's this guy. This is the guy that's really responsible for how Russia set up its regime because he's the
Mhm.
one that's like we're going to create a picture and that picture will be how we keep everything in check. And so, a very timely film. One of the things I was interested in with this trailer is the reviews were talking about how they speak English and they have English accents, and I couldn't
Mhm.
really picture. I pictured something a little bit more jarring, but it wasn't really that jarring in the trailer.
Yeah, just kind of
To
worked.
me. So I think that that's one of the things I was having trouble like depicting in my head. It looks really good. The cinematography looks nice where it is. It's very much a people talking in rooms kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it did hint at some, thrills. I mean, there's a car exploding in the trailer. Obviously they're men doing very bad things. So, um, if you're into political thrillers, political talky thrillers, this looks like a pretty good movie.
Yeah. It's also going to be covering the fall of the Soviet Union. We can tell this by the 1990 title card, and we know the Soviet Union fell in 1991. So seeing the transition from that government to what it is today is just going to be a really interesting story. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Now, for people who aren't interested in history or politics in any way, this is like probably like the snooziest trailer. They
Ah,
couldn't care less. They're like, I don't care about Russia and how they do. I don't care about that. But it is important. It's not just Russia. I think it ties into American things.
mhm.
But this looks great to me. I can't wait to see it. Um, that is a wrap on the Wasteland Wrap. We've covered a lot of news as deep as we could without just absolutely making this a 2 hour talk show. Val,
Seriously.
is there anything left that we didn't get to? We've had 2 weeks of movie news since the last episode. Is there anything else that comes to mind that is worth
I
talking
was just
about?
going to shout out a couple of the things just on screenagewasteland.com. A few more CinemaCon things that we didn't get to, but you can read about. Right on the first page is Taylor Sheridan's Call of Duty movie, which is coming out 2028, and also the info about the new James Bond, which is being directed by Denis Villeneuve. You can read all about that on screenagewasteland.com. And I will plug my Resident Evil piece if you want to know how the Resident Evil film is going to tie onto the games based on what we know so far. So, yeah.
Yeah, and also we got gosh, and I haven't we got a new Spaceballs sequel
Mhm.
announcement. It's going to be called The New One. um We've got a new trailer for Godzilla Minus Zero came out this week. That was pretty interesting. We got a trailer for Fokker-in-Law starring Ariana Grande. Oh, Warner Brothers announced a new specialty film label called Clockwork, and its first
Mhm.
film's going to be a new film from
Sean
Sean
Baker.
Baker called Ti Amo, which of course is a sex work comedy because that's what Sean Baker does, seemingly. We've got all kinds of stuff on the website. Tyler Harner reviewed Faces of Death for us, which is
Mhm.
great because I haven't been able to go see that. There's a new Longlegs movie coming out. I mean, we got a
So much
cast for
is
Lord of the
happening.
Rings. Our
Yep.
Audria Arjona cast in Man of Tomorrow, possibly as Maxima. A lot of people think she might be secretly Wonder Woman. Um, there's so much stuff.
So much going on.
One funny last thing is one of the first things to come out of CinemaCon was they announced Paddington 4, and they announced a new
I missed that somehow.
yeah, Paddington 4 is coming. Congratulations on
Amazing.
that news. And apparently there's a reimagining of Escape from New York coming. And those were two of the
Mm.
first things, and there was a headline that packaged those together, and I read Paddington 4 Escape from New York, which I was like, what is that gonna
What?
what is that gonna be? I'm like,
Incredible crossover.
uh, that's strange. So anyway, yeah, that's a and we had a new Sunrise on the Reaping trailer for Hunger Games. There is so much news. All of that I pretty much just read off of Screenage Wasteland. So just go check it out. Just dive in, find out everything else that happened, and we will see you again next week on the Wasteland Wrap.